yourself by becoming rich.
Take all your money and buy Bitcoin.
You can wake up every morning and say GM.
GM. Today is Thursday, 31st of October. It's the end of the month, last day of the month. Let's go. So, Bitcoin is not going up, and it probably won't go up today. So I was in the day trader chat, took a trade last night after Bitcoin had come down, and I think it had taken out these lows and held off the daily open. No move up, and then just now we've seen an attempt to push higher, rejecting aggressively, and this is now losing any kind of structure that would have been constructive for it. It's about to do a 1 hour bearish engulfing candle. It can still hold around here, but I think that the attempts to break higher are failing. I think it's pretty clear. And I'm going to still assume that there's too much trap liquidity. There's just far too many longs in the short term for Bitcoin to go any higher. And it's going to have to drift a bit lower and consolidate for longer. Or just pull back proper. So any daily consolidation that stays within yesterday's range would be pretty bullish. And obviously the most bullish thing would be pushing on above here. It would be when it gets above yesterday's daily high, so 73 let's say, that things would be kicking on. So for Bitcoin to be bullish, it would have to reclaim. It's probably going to sweep some of these lows. It would have to reclaim the daily open and then make a new high there. If it does that, I would suspect that whatever consolidation we're having is going to then push towards the new highs. There's a lot of work it has to do. You basically want to see it come and consolidate above this area, right? So too much consolidation going on below it, that will likely lead to lower move, and then you're chopping around at lower prices. Versus if it can make its way up and actually hold here, consolidate there for a bit, then up we go. But I suspect it's going to take some time. We pushed up on Tuesday, we tried again on Wednesday, we've tried again today. I reckon it's probably going to be going lower first before having any proper attempt to break them. Today is last day of the month as well, so you can have some weird price action on the final day of the month too. Overall, the higher time frame looks great, of course. Depends where it's going to close, but end of the month is going to be stronger than I had said on monthly preview. If you remember, I said that we'd have some down move, then we'd have some up move, and I said if we close like around here with an up wick and a down wick, and we close somewhere around 68, 69, that would be a great month. It's gone even further than that, so that's good in a sense and then not good in another sense. It's good in the sense that this is a very strong monthly close coming up. It's bad in the sense that it's a bit earlier than ideal, and it's going to drag forward a lot of people's opinions and perspectives and positioning especially. It's going to be harder for Bitcoin now, unless it breaks out obviously. It's going to be harder because there's just essentially so many people who are going to be trying to chase this move, and it's very soon, and it's coming at the end of October, and it's sitting around all-time high, so there's a few things that are less than ideal. When it just consolidates below all-time high like this, means it's going to hit it, right? I'm pretty sure that if you just treat this like any other consolidation, typically what would happen here is it chops around and people try to short it and then it takes the highs. But if it sells off from there, then it doesn't really matter regardless, right? So it would actually be much better for it to just rip straight through. And it can't do that because the consolidation was below 70. So it's hard for it to go all the way from below 70 to above 75, 76 and then hold. Just like when it moved up quickly from 65 to 70, it had to cool off for a week or so. Pretty normal stuff. But consolidation is going to either be lengthy or deep. So you're either going to have a pretty quick pullback that kind of flushes people out, or you're going to have some kind of more lengthy chop that allows it to then break out. So I don't know which one it's going to be, if any of them, but I suspect that we're going to stay around this area till the election. Now there's a lot of talk, which maybe today, depending on when I can get recording. We'll do monthly preview for November. So catching up on that October. October played out pretty much as expected. I wouldn't have said that we'd go to 73, but we've had a green October, and it didn't come in the way that people expected, right? We had all the October and all the excitement. I mentioned at the start of the month, well, expect some downside initially. We got that. And then we had a really nice, strong end to the month. And leading into November, I think November will touch all-time high, but I also think we'll go back below. And this is part of why it's unlikely to break out today, especially since that move failed. Think about it, from the perspective of somebody who's looking at the month-over-month move. So 26th September, we had a move up into the end of the month. So 26 was bullish, 7th, 8th, 9th. Once you get to the last couple of days of the month, why would anybody buy? Right? Because tomorrow we go into a new month. So is somebody going to want to buy here when they know that probabilistically it's going to go lower at some point in November? It's also going to go higher at some point, because pretty much every month has at least some down move and some up move. And then the problem with that is you always have an overabundance of longs in this market. There's always an equal number of positions, right? For every buy order, there's a sell order, but it's not equal in terms of people, the positioning. The vast majority of people in the crypto market are long, and there's a smaller number of people who are on the other side short or who have sold to them. It's like market makers, whales, big players, whatever you want to call them. So you've got a lot of people who are long, all expecting the same thing. And you've got a market that is about to go into a new month, which will have some down move. Like, do you think that November's candle won't even take out that level? If you think that November's candle will at least go there, then there's no reason to buy yet, right? You might as well just buy at 71.3 if you get the move down. And of course, November, like this was October. So October's open was at 63.3, and it went all the way down to 59. And it spent 10 days doing that. And it's not just that, it's like every single month. Even last year was probably like the most bullish November, where November opened here. And like that was like all the down move you got. And even then, in probably the most bullish November that I remember, that was still a down move, right? On the open, you still got to move down. There's still some lower wick, which is why when you get to the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, the market stops moving. So Bitcoin had its nice big move. It tried to have a couple moves up. They have both failed so far. And it's most likely just going to close today with a very choppy range, which is just normal. Super, super normal. Again, 28th, 29th, and 30th of November barely moves. December kicks in, away it goes. And you do get this positive. So there you have a green 1st of November, a green 1st of December. I've done studies on this in the past, and we've showed it on stream and video. Very, very, very common for Bitcoin to pump on the first day of the month for the exact same reason as why people wouldn't buy today. So the reason you wouldn't buy today is because you know that next month's going to have some down move. And very often that happens actually before. It actually happens the day before or a couple of days before. So if you're looking at saying, I'm not going to buy today because it's not October yet, you actually avoid some of the down move, and we are having a red day. It doesn't look like much, but this is a red day so far. And if you look at the next move, wherever that's going to come from, as soon as next month's candle opens, you will have actually people wanting to buy. It's this weird kind of psychology. So you very often see at the beginning of the month, the first of the month, the market moving up, because same as the start of the year, even though there will be some down move in every monthly candle or every year or whatever, if you're looking at it the 1st of January and you say, do I think it's going to be bullish this year, yes or no, the option is to buy. Obviously you think it's going to be bullish, right? Even though there is going to be some downside, the best bet is actually to buy. So if you think a month is going to be bullish, you don't buy on the 30th or the 31st. On the 1st, you would buy. And you can see this really clearly if you go and study end of month, so the last few days of the month, like 30th, 31st, you typically don't see much movement. If you see any movement, it's down in a bull market. Bear markets are different. And then on the 1st of the month, there's quite consistently green candles, which I've shown again over and over and over and over. You can see these here, even throughout this period, right, where we have the 1st of October was bearish, the 1st of September was bearish, the 1st of August was bullish, the 1st of July, and the 1st of July, so where is July? There we go. And these are not, was bullish, pump up and then drop down, and these are not even in bull market conditions. This is throughout like the worst period. When you start getting into, you know, what we call it like consensus bull market, where everyone's like, we're back, first is bullish, really small but bullish. But especially when you look through like the last half of the year, so September, October, November, December, and then into the start of the year, January, February, March, which we're going into this seasonally good period now. Quite common that you see that. So, anyway, sideways, choppy, fucking bullshit, and then maybe up only. But I would expect, yeah, if we have a down or sideways day today, we probably have a green day tomorrow and then some more consolidation. We'll see. I don't think there'll be any crazy moon mission unless it's able to reclaim that daily open. Bitcoin dominance is rising nicely as well. As we see overnight, zooming in on it, Bitcoin dominance has been rising, continuing to rise, so good to see. I would expect that trend again, don't fade it, expect that trend to continue. Checking in some of the things, the dollar maybe starting to reverse, a bit early, but we are expecting a dollar reversal. I said this around the election, it will go sideways, and then probably after the election it drops back. And then I've seen that there was earnings across some stocks, crypto-related stocks. So Coinbase had relatively bad earnings, although not crazy. And their stock is sort of sideways. It looks like it's got a lot more accumulation to go. Doesn't look like a very bullish chart to me, like short term. I'd say that's probably going to just keep grinding its way up for the next few weeks and maybe break out next year. And clear high or low, I would imagine this will end up being a clear high or low. But the fact that it's had a sell-off now wouldn't really concern me. And then I see that Microsoft was down a lot. Yeah, Microsoft was down a bit, and what was the other? Meta. They must have reported earnings. Both of them are down overnight or in the pre-market. And that probably has dragged down the stock indices as well. Yeah, S&P pulling back a bit and the Nasdaq pulling back a bit. So this is all pre-election, just consolidation. And I don't know how much crypto has been affected, if at all, by these stocks, by these company earnings, or the stock market kind of mini pullback. I don't think it's much, really. But I will deep dive on my expectations going into the election itself, because, I mean, if we talk about it here briefly, there's going to be a lot of talk about sell the news with the election. Is the election going to be sell the news for crypto? And it's going to be pretty hard for it not to be. And not because it's going to be bearish. This is assuming Trump wins. Regardless of who wins. It's just that crypto has been like massively outperforming the stock market in the lead up to it, right? So in the run up to the election, you've seen a huge outperformance of BTC. So Bitcoin up 25% since the start, let's say from from the Fed meeting. I should do it there. From the Fed meeting, when they cut rates. Bitcoin's up 24%, stocks are up 2%. Right? So obviously Bitcoin is more volatile. Bitcoin typically will rise more, but not by that much. That's like pretty extreme outperformance. So you are likely due to see a closing of that gap, a convergence. And I would say it's pretty simple. Many people will hedge their stock portfolio pre-election. And then when the election comes and goes, so when we get past it, they will close those hedges. So you have a pretty reliable bounce after elections once the uncertainty passes. And if you're looking at the stocks, that's where the capital is going to allocate first. Right, so anyone who is on the sidelines or is waiting till the election to allocate, they're looking to get straight back into stocks. Bitcoin does not really suffer from that. People are not going to be hedging their Bitcoin pre-election. It's not really how it works, because I'm not talking about like crypto traders. I'm talking about like Wall Street types. They're going to be holding a small amount anyway, and it's a part of their portfolio that is either a hedge itself or a small allocation like you put into gold or some kind of store of value, whatever. And then you have the speculative angle, where Bitcoin is a Trump trade. So it makes zero sense to hedge your crypto holdings, your Bitcoin, in the lead up to the election when it's in a momentum trend based on one of the candidates being pro-crypto. So you've seen stocks underperforming Bitcoin, and that will change. There will be a reversion of that. That doesn't have to mean it has to go down. You might see Bitcoin go up 5% while stocks go up 15%. Right? So meaning Bitcoin still goes up, stocks just go up way more. But it's likely that you see some kind of pullback. Maybe that will happen before the election, I would guess. When you look at it this way and you see how stark the outperformance has been, there's probably going to be some early profit taking of the election trade before the election. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I'll talk more about that on monthly preview. As for alts, not much happening. Money's going to flow back into some of these. Not really. I mean, you see a lot of Sigma, pretty good. Not much really going on. Mog's moving up. So you're starting to see a few alts, a few memes and alts start to run. And with Bitcoin near all-time high and that happening, it's not too bad. Bitcoin dominance still is strong. So it's not like Total 3 or altcoins in general are outperforming. So yeah, if Bitcoin is a sideways day today, you'll probably see some altcoins move up. And I think that's going to be the case. I don't think Bitcoin's going to break out day before the end of the month. And that's it, GM. For all the altcoins you ever want to see, 5 p.m. UTC today. Altcoin requests live. Join me then, GM. I'll open up the channel at 4. So an hour before the stream, I open up the channel. You can put in your altcoin requests. We'll go through all your favorite shit coins and chart them. GM to that.